Following the resignation of the head of the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles yesterday, our team reveals new concerns over the state's agency's response to its paper license plate problem. Executive Director Whitney Brewster stepped down, saying it was time to allow new leadership to take the reins and continue moving the agency successfully into the future.
This after criticism from law enforcement as well as KXAN airing a series of investigative reports about crooks infiltrating the DMV, able to access its system and sell fraudulent temporary tags on the black market. Now KXAN investigator Matt Grant reports some of that criticism suggests the problems could have been prevented if warnings were not ignored.
Today is the Tuesday, March 17th.
You're watching exclusive video. Law enforcement officers are here to seize records related to dozens of criminal investigations. But this search warrant is unique.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because it's being served.
I'm with the constable's office, and I have a search warrant
At the TxDMV headquarters in Austin in 2020. This as the agency insists it works closely with law enforcement.
My staff are committed to working with law enforcement in every way we can to end this illegal activity.
Run one for me, please.
00530. But Sergeant Jose Escribano with the Travis County Constable's Office says he's not convinced. He says he had to go to a judge to get a search warrant because the DMV refused to turn over records and allow access to its tag database. The DMV tells us it routinely provides records to law enforcement and would have done so in this case if Escribano had submitted a simple request via email. Yet emails going back to 2017 show multiple requests and DMV denials.
You see the one I'm going after?
Casuals.
Texas's paper plate problem shows no signs of slowing down. These real tags contain fake info and are sold in all 50 states, allowing criminals to hide in plain sight. A viewer sending us this one in New York City. The plates are purchased on Facebook in ads that try to disguise what's being sold. Because of what we uncovered, the social media network is now investigating, telling us in a statement, "We prohibit the sale of fraudulent vehicle tags and encourage people to report suspicious listings to us. We are collaborating with the Texas DMV to understand the scope and scale of the problem." Escribano tells us this should have been addressed years earlier. In 2019, he says he recorded a private meeting between law enforcement and DMV officials. The recording showed the agency was aware that people could enter obviously fake vehicle identification numbers into its system, using characters like periods and exclamation marks. Something real VINs don't allow. In December, DMV Executive Director Whitney Brewster, who resigned Monday amid our investigations, told us,
We have a system defect.
but the recording we obtained from Escribano suggests otherwise, showing DMV officials rejected tightening VIN verification, worried it would hurt businesses, and reject non-conforming VINs typically used on trailers.
We had to back down off of how tight that VIN verification was ratcheted on that system because of that problem that occurred. With the VINs, I can always try and go crank those down. I generally, when I crank those down, I start getting pushback on the other side of things because I've got a business industry that is highly vocal that's sitting on the other side.
Central Texas law enforcement officer David Kohler was at that meeting.
There's no defect, there's no glitch in the system because they were made aware of it 2 years ago.
The DMV says it made changes to correct the way VINs are entered, but Escribano says it's not enough because the state doesn't verify if the VIN entered is even legitimate.
I think what happened was, again, they were told about it and they just took no action for whatever reason. But that's negligence.
Escribano feels other fixes don't go far enough when it comes to shutting down phony car dealerships that exist solely on paper. While he praises the DMV for now immediately cutting off access to suspected fraudsters, he wants all non-franchise dealership licensees to be fingerprinted.
We will be talking about this next session quite vigorously.
State Representative Terry Canales says this issue is a top priority for him.
As chairman of the House Transportation Committee, what can you do right now to help fix this?
So one of the things we have asked the Speaker of the House to do is to allow us to hold interim hearings.
Canales is looking into what laws need to change, in part because of what KXAN uncovered.
It's a huge deal to me. It should be a big deal to everybody because of investigative reporting. So I want to tell you how grateful I am and my office is because the work that media does, it sheds sunlight on things that perhaps we wouldn't have known about. So y'all are doing a great job.
All of this leading some to call on the state to scrap the entire system. The Tax Assessor Collectors Association of Texas writing this letter to the Texas DMV urging a 2-year halt on issuing paper tags and returning to metal ones, citing very serious concerns. The Texas DMV says that is under consideration. In Austin, Matt Grant, KXAN Investigates.
Thank you, Matt. DMV leaders are set to meet tomorrow and on Thursday to discuss the state's temporary tag problem.
And we will be there and we'll continue to stay on top of this story. But until then, check out our special landing page to catch all of Matt's investigations into this issue. Go to kxan.com/risky-rides.